The laughter began with a plastic doll. It was not warm laughter, not the kind people shared when a small mistake softened a room. It came in quick, sharp pieces beneath the fluorescent lights of room 214, bouncing off the hospital classroom walls until Tessa Brandt felt every sound settle on her skin. She stood near the front with both hands beneath the weight of her belly, her thrift store cardigan straining over twins who had not waited for her life to become easier, and watched Mrs. Harrow hold up the doll as if it were proof of a crime. "Partners," the instructor said. "Tonight we practice safe infant transfers with the father or support person. Birth is not a solo performance." Several women turned in their padded chairs. Several men looked at Tessa's bare left hand. Audra Klein, whose diamond ring had flashed all evening like a warning light, leaned back and whispered loudly, "Maybe her billionaire is parking the yacht." The room laughed. Someone else said, "No, she wrote Ezra Whitlock on her intake form. Maybe he's buying the hospital first." Tessa's mouth went dry. The hospital paperwork had been private. The line had asked for the father's name, and she had written the truth because she had already lost too much to silence. Ezra Whitlock. Not a fantasy. Not a trick. Not a borrowed name. The man from Bellwether. The man who had lifted storm shutters beside her, shared canned peaches with her in a dark pharmacy, kissed her as if a poor temporary supply clerk could be the center of the world, then vanished after promising to find her in the city. Mrs. Harrow gave Tessa a look softened by public pity and sharpened by private judgment. "Tessa, we try to maintain a supportive environment. Some participants feel uncomfortable with sensational claims." "I came to learn how to hold 2 babies safely," Tessa said. Audra smiled. "Then maybe learn who their father is first." The pain of those words was old. It came with the returned letters, the security guard at Whitlock Tower, the legal notice warning her that further contact with Mr. Whitlock would be treated as harassment. Tessa had stood in the lobby that day with swollen ankles and a sonogram in her purse, while people in polished shoes walked around her as if poverty were contagious. She had gone home to a rented room, read the notice 3 times, and still refused to remove his name from her prenatal chart. Now Mrs. Harrow lowered the doll. "Perhaps tonight isn't a good night for you?" Tessa bent slowly to pick up her canvas tote. The movement sent a hard pull across her abdomen. She steadied herself against the table, breathing through it, refusing to let anyone see fear before she chose to show it. "I work in this hospital laundry," she said. "I fold the sheets for mothers who can afford suites upstairs. I clean gowns no one remembers staining. I'm here because babies can choke and I wanted to know what to do before mine are born. That is not a scandal." At the back of the room, Sloane Ingram closed her tablet. She was not pregnant. She was there as the elegant patron of the Ingram Family Birth Center, the donor's daughter whose maternal wellness program made wealthy women feel charitable without ever sitting beside the women who washed their linens. Her blonde hair was caught in a pearl clip, her smile quiet and poisonous. Tessa met her eyes. "Tell whoever is frightened by a name on a form that I didn't come here looking for him. I came for my children." No one followed when she walked out. In the corridor, the laughter started again behind the closed door. Tessa made it to the elevator before the pain changed. It tightened low and deep, folding her forward until her tote slid from her shoulder and hit the floor. Her notebook fell open to the questions she had written in block letters. How to hold 2 newborns at once. What if one baby will not breathe? Can fear affect milk? "Not yet," she whispered. The classroom door remained closed. Tessa did not knock. She pressed one hand to the wall and made her way toward the admitting desk, one step at a time, because crawling back to people who had laughed at her loneliness felt worse than pain. By the time the receptionist saw her face and called for a wheelchair, sweat had dampened her hairline. 34 weeks, Tessa managed. Twins. My name is Tessa Brandt. Support person? The question opened a hollow place inside her. Once, Ezra Whitlock had promised, "When I come back to the city, I'll find you before the week is over." Once, she had believed him because his hands had been calloused from carrying supplies, and his voice had sounded too honest to belong to money. Then came silence, returned envelopes, a formal threat, a pregnancy test on a bathroom floor while the radiator hissed beside her like an animal. "No," she said. "No support person." A nurse moved the wheelchair forward. Tessa grabbed the woman's wrist before they rolled her away. "Please, don't remove his name from the chart," the nurse blinked. "I don't care what anyone says," Tessa whispered. "Don't erase it." The Ingram Family Birth Center had been designed to look less like a hospital and more like a promise rich people made on behalf of the frightened. Its walls were painted sage and cream. Its donor names shone in brushed silver. Above the hallway leading toward the neonatal rooms, the largest letters read, "The Whitlock Maternal and Infant Care Wing." Ezra Whitlock hated seeing his name there. He stood beneath it the next afternoon, in a charcoal suit chosen by an assistant, not because he cared, but because cameras did. The wing had been funded after his mother lost a premature daughter before Ezra was born. His father had converted that grief into philanthropy, and philanthropy into control. Ezra had inherited both. Wealth had taught him early that even sorrow became architecture when enough people wanted a plaque. 10 minutes, murmured Vivian Cross, his chief counsel. "Greet trustees, look at the neonatal unit, say something about access, then we leave." Ezra's eyes stayed on the silver letters. "No cameras near infants. They'll stay outside the glass. No cameras near infants." Vivian's mouth tightened, which meant she would obey but resent the lack of spectacle. She had managed Whitlock legal affairs for years, including the months after Ezra's accident, when his memory returned in fragments, and every message was filtered through people who said they were protecting him. Sloane Ingram stepped from the private elevator in ivory silk. "Ezra, you look better than the last time I saw you." "I was unconscious then." Her smile faltered, then recovered. "Exactly. Better." He did not smile back. There were weeks he still could not assemble cleanly. The bellwether storm, the damaged phone, the car leaving town, headlights on wet pavement, a terrible white flash. After that, hospital ceilings, headaches, Vivian saying no personal matter required his attention. Yet sometimes he woke with the smell of canned peaches in his mind, and the memory of a woman pinning her dark curls with a pencil, while she argued that poor people did not need saving. They needed doors that stayed open. Tessa. He had asked about her. Vivienne had said, "No one credible has contacted you." Now Sloane led him toward the neonatal corridor, speaking about survival rates. A nurse crossed in front of them, pushing a clear bassinet. Inside lay a furious, red-faced newborn with a white bracelet around one ankle. A second nurse followed with another bassinet. Ezra glanced down because twins made everyone look. Then he saw the card clipped to the first bassinet. Baby a Whitlock mother, Tessa Brandt. Father, Ezra Whitlock. The second bassinet passed under the light. Baby B. Whitlock. Mother, Tessa Brandt. Father, Ezra Whitlock. Ezra stepped into the corridor so abruptly the nurse gasped. "Sir, you can't block. Where is their mother?" Vivian caught his sleeve. "Ezra." He shook her off. "Where is Tessa Brandt?" Sloane's face went pale under perfect makeup. "There may be an intake error. Systems auto-populate. Desperate women sometimes." Ezra looked at her until the sentence died. The baby in the second bassinet opened his mouth, struggled for one silent second, then released a thin cry that cut through every legal argument in the hall. Ezra looked at the bracelet again. His name, printed around a limb no thicker than 2 of his fingers. His name, because Tessa had refused to erase it. His name, while he had been absent. Vivian said, "We need to handle this privately." "What did you know?" Her pause was less than a breath. It was enough. "Take me to her," Ezra said. Tessa had not slept. Birth had carved time into pain, alarms, whispered instructions, and 2 brief minutes with the babies before nurses carried them away. She had named them Iris and Owen. Iris had arrived first, angry at the world. Owen had followed 12 minutes later, smaller, quieter, with one hand near his cheek, as if protecting himself from noise. Tessa had touched each forehead and made a promise too large for language. Now she lay in a private room she had not requested, wearing a gown that smelled of bleach when the hallway outside changed. Voices lowered. Shoes stopped. Power had a sound even before it entered. Ezra came through the door without cameras or trustees. He was thinner than she remembered. A pale scar crossed one eyebrow. His dark hair was cut shorter, but his eyes were the same gray that had watched her in Bellwether, as if her careful hopes mattered. For 1 second, the storm returned. Candles in jars, his damp shirt over a chair, his hand covering hers when thunder shook the pharmacy windows. Then she remembered the lobby guard, the returned letters, the legal notice. "Get out," she said. Ezra flinched. Vivian stood behind him. Sloane hovered in the doorway. Tessa saw them and understood too much at once. Ezra turned his head. "Leave," Vivian said. "Counsel should be present. Truth should be present. Leave." Sloane's voice softened into cruelty. "Ezra, don't let her use newborns to leave." When the door closed, silence trembled between them. Ezra stood at the foot of the bed. I saw the tags. "Congratulations." "Are they mine?" The question struck harder than any laugh. Tessa stared at him, then gave a small, broken laugh of her own. "That is what you ask first." His face changed. Shame, sudden and naked, crossed it. "No, it is not what I should have asked. But you did." "Tessa, don't say my name like Bellwether, and then question whether I know who touched me." He closed his eyes. When he opened them, the coldness was gone. "I wrote no notice. I received no letters. I did not know you were pregnant." She reached painfully toward the bedside drawer. "Open it." He did. Inside was a packet bound with a rubber band, returned envelopes, copies of bounced emails, the formal no-contact letter on Whitlock letterhead, a photograph from Bellwether showing Tessa in an oversized yellow raincoat beside Ezra, both holding a crate of formula for the shelter. She had kept it because sometimes proof was the only weapon poor women were allowed. Ezra read the legal notice. The signature line bore Vivian Cross's name. His face went still in a way that frightened her more than anger. "I did not send this," he said. "But it came from your world." "Yes." "I came to your building. I was told no one came. I wrote that I was pregnant." His hand tightened around the letter until the paper creased. "I never saw it." "That did not help me." "No," he said. "It didn't." She told him only the outline because she did not owe him the blood, the storm, the promise, the pregnancy, the lobby, the warning letter, the boarding house rent rising when her landlady learned there would be twins, the hospital laundry shift, the class where they laughed, the contractions beginning in the corridor. He listened without interrupting. His hands opened and closed over his knees, as if he were learning not to turn guilt into command. At last he said, "I want to see them." "So do I," she whispered. The nurse entered a few minutes later to say the babies were ready for brief skin-to-skin. Tessa tried to rise too fast and gasped. Ezra stepped forward, then froze when she glared at him. "I can walk," she said. The nurse shook her head. "Not today." In the neonatal room, blue light softened everything except truth. Iris lay beneath a warmer, a pink cap slipping over one eye. Owen slept beside her, small and serious. Their tags looked absurdly large around their wrists. Baby A. Whitlock. Baby B. Whitlock. Ezra read them again. Something in him broke silently. The nurse settled Tessa into a reclining chair and placed Iris against her chest. Then Owen. Tessa bent over both babies, tears falling onto their caps. "I'm here," she whispered. "I'm here. I'm here." When she looked up, Ezra stood 3 feet away, one hand gripping the edge of an empty bassinet. His eyes were wet. The man whose name filled hospital walls looked helpless before 2 premature children. "I will agree to DNA," Tessa said, her voice raw. He lifted his head. "Tessa." "I'm not offering because I doubt myself. I'm offering because your world runs on proof, and my children will not be called an accusation. They won't be. They already were." He accepted the blow because it was true. "I'll sign whatever is needed," he said, "but not to decide whether I should care. I care now." "That's not enough." "No," he said. "It isn't." The first attempt to change the twins' records happened at 2:17 that morning. Tessa was asleep for the first time in nearly 2 days, one hand curled near Iris's blanket. Ezra sat in the hallway with hospital coffee cooling on the floor, while Mara Bell, his security director and a former prosecutor, scanned access logs on a tablet. "Someone tried to remove the paternal field," Mara said. Baby A and Baby B would have been reprinted as Brandt, with a discharge note saying mother declined paternal identification. Who authorized it? The user ID belongs to Lydia Fenn, program coordinator under Sloan Ingram. Ezra looked through the narrow window at Tessa, asleep beside 2 bassinets. She asked them not to erase it. Then someone knew erasure was the point. By sunrise, whispers moved faster than official statements. Laundry workers knew first, then nurses, then trustees. Reporters called the front desk by 8. At 9, Vivian returned with a folder, and the expression of a woman prepared to make cruelty sound procedural. Ezra met her in a windowless consultation room. Mara stood by the door. Vivian placed the folder on the table. "Before this becomes irreversible, you need to understand the exposure. An unverified paternity claim involving a vulnerable employee creates reputational hazards." Ezra looked at her. "Did you send the letter?" "I sent many letters while you were incapacitated." To Tessa Brandt. A standard no-contact notice after security flagged her behavior. She wrote that she was pregnant. Vivian's pause was small. Mara noticed. Ezra did too. "You read it," he said. "I read enough to determine that engaging would encourage escalation." He rose so fast his chair struck the wall. "She told me she was pregnant with my children, and you threatened her. I protected you. You protected control." The door opened. Sloan entered with Miles Whitlock, Ezra's half-brother, whose linen suit and lazy smile made even concern look inherited. Miles looked around. "I hear I became an uncle twice, or perhaps not. These things can be confusing when laundry girls discover surnames." Mara said, "Choose your next sentence carefully." Sloan stepped in smoothly. "Ezra, Tessa may believe what she wrote. That does not make it true. My program serves hundreds of mothers. We cannot let one unstable story destroy. Your program laughed her out of class while she was in early labor. I did not control every word in that room." "No," Ezra said. "You only built the room." Miles chuckled. "Listen to yourself. 1 hospital bracelet, and you're ready to rewrite succession." There it was. Succession. The family disease. Ezra's father had written children into trusts before they were born and turned love into clauses. Iris and Owen were not yet 2 days old, and already people were counting what their existence might cost. "We'll complete a DNA test," Ezra said. "I'll acknowledge paternity when it confirms what Tessa already knows, and Mara will review every communication sent to or about her from the day I left Bellwether." Vivienne's face tightened. "Be careful." "I am. That is why you are no longer handling it." Tessa learned about the DNA swab from a nurse, not from Ezra, and by the time he entered with a paper cup of crushed ice, anger had carried her upright. "I don't want gifts," she said. "It's ice. From you, that's a gift." He set it on the tray. "Then it can be a mineral." She did not smile, though something in her almost did, which made her angrier. "They told you about the test," he said. "I wanted to ask myself, but the hospital got there first. I'm sorry." "Stop saying sorry unless it comes with a deed." "What deed?" "I was being cruel. I still want to know." She looked toward the bassinets. "Do not take them." Ezra went still. "That is the deed. Do not decide that because you have money and I have a rented room with a hot plate, a court will consider you the better parent." His voice changed. "Never. Rich men say never until lawyers find better words. I will put it in writing, not with my lawyer. Yours. I'll pay, but she won't answer to me. I will not seek custody to punish, pressure, or separate you from Iris and Owen. Poverty will not be treated as neglect." Tessa looked away before he could see relief undoing her face. "I don't have a lawyer." "You will. Her name is Naya Okafor. She dislikes billionaires professionally." This time, a breath escaped her that was almost laughter. The swabs were taken at 4:06 p.m. Iris protested with all the fury her small body could hold. Owen slept through his, which worried Tessa until the nurse smiled and said, "He's saving strength to rule the household later." Ezra washed his hands, and after Tessa allowed it, placed one finger beside Iris's fist. She gripped him with startling force. His face went quiet with wonder. "She's strong," he whispered. "She had to be." 46 hours later, the genetic counselor read the results in Tessa's room with a nurse and Naya present. Probability of paternity greater than 99.999% for both infants. No one gasped. Iris hiccuped. Owen slept with his mouth open. Tessa handed Ezra a copy. "There, your world has permission to believe me. I believed you before. Your world didn't. I'll make it. Don't make them believe me because I belong to you," she said. "Make them believe women before billionaires require a lab report." The next morning, Ezra released a statement with no photographs. It named Iris and Owen. It named Tessa first as their mother. It confirmed paternity, warned against harassment, and announced an independent review into the suppression of her communications and her treatment in a hospital-sponsored class. By noon, the city had opinions. Reporters gathered outside. Strangers called Tessa a gold digger, a saint, a liar, a heroine, anything except tired. Nurses sent soup. The laundry department taped a crooked sign in the staff elevator that said, "Congratulations, Tessa." That made her cry harder than the insults. When discharge came, Ezra offered a private recovery house. Tessa refused before he finished. "My boarding house has stairs and one sink, so I'm not stupid," she said. "But I won't disappear into one of your properties, where everyone says you hid me. What do you need to feel safe?" The question disarmed her. "A door I can lock, an elevator, a refrigerator, a way to get to the hospital. No staff reporting to your family, my name on the lease." Ezra nodded. "The Whitlock Foundation has furnished apartments for visiting researchers. We can transfer one lease to you temporarily." "For what rent?" $1. "That's theater. Name a number that insults us both equally." Despite herself, she looked at him. $200. The foundation charges $4,000. I said, insulting. $200. He agreed. Utilities included because twins negotiate poorly. She turned away before he could see her mouth soften. They left through the front doors because Tessa refused to be smuggled out. Ezra carried Owen's car seat. Tessa carried Iris. Cameras flashed across the drive. Did you trap him? Are you suing the hospital? Are you together? Why didn't he know? Tessa stopped. Ezra stopped because she did. You owe them nothing, he murmured. No, she said, but I owe myself something. She faced the microphones. I am healing. I am the mother of premature twins. That should be enough to make anyone speak carefully. If it isn't, write this down. I did not trap a man by telling the truth on a hospital form. I did not become less honest because I was poor, unmarried, or alone in a classroom. My children are not a scandal. They are Iris and Owen. A reporter asked, softer, Do you blame Mr. Whitlock? Tessa looked at Ezra. I blame everyone according to what they chose. Then she walked to the car. The apartment had morning light. That was the first thing Tessa noticed, and it angered her because Ezra had remembered. In Bellwether, sitting on the pharmacy floor, she had said she wanted a place where sunlight arrived before fear did. Now pale gold stretched across a small living room, a practical kitchen, and 2 unassembled bassinets he had not dared to build without permission. No staff live here, he said from the doorway. Mara's team handles building security. You approve visitors. Nia should review the lease. The twins began to fuss. Tessa's body answered with exhaustion so heavy the room tilted. Ezra saw it. I can leave, he said, or unpack diapers while you sit, or sit in the hall and be available but invisible. Choose one. Pride rose, bruised and faithful. Then Iris cried. Owen joined her, and Tessa's incision burned when she bent toward the car seat. Wash your hands, she said. He did. For the next hour, Ezra learned money could not teach a man to unfold a preemie diaper under pressure. He put one on backward. Tessa corrected him without softness. Iris screamed at both of them. Owen urinated on the changing pad with perfect timing. Tessa laughed so suddenly it hurt. Ezra froze, holding a wipe. What? She asked. I missed that sound. The laughter vanished. He set the wipe down. I'm sorry. Don't make every human sound into history. I won't. But history lived between the bassinets. It stood in the kitchen while he washed bottles. It followed him into the hallway when he took calls in a low voice. It softened, slowly, not because apologies were enough, but because he kept making practical choices that cost him control. He arrived with receipts, not surprises. He asked before buying. He let Nia rewrite every agreement until the pages protected Tessa from him as much as they protected the children for him. When she cried over spilled pumped milk at 3 p.m, he stood in the doorway and asked, Do you want help or witness? She threw a burp cloth at him. He washed it. Outside the apartment, Mara's review kept digging. The first proof was a mailroom scan. Tessa's second letter had arrived at Whitlock Tower on May 14th, logged, opened, and restricted under a code used for extortion threats. The scan showed no threat, only a due date, a request for a meeting, and one sentence that made Ezra leave the room when he read it. I am not asking you to love me because of what happened, but I am asking you to answer before I have to explain your silence to a child. There were 2 children now. The second proof came from the classroom hallway camera. It showed Tessa leaving room 214, bending in pain by the elevator, and struggling toward admitting while the classroom door stayed closed. 30 seconds later, Sloane stepped out, watched her, and went back inside. Tessa refused to watch. I was there, she said. I don't need a replay. The third proof came from Lydia Fenn, the coordinator whose ID had been used to alter the twins' chart. She came to Mara, terrified and crying. Sloan had told her to flag Tessa's class enrollment because the prenatal intake named Ezra. Mr. Harrow had been instructed to discourage disruptive fantasy claims. After the birth, Sloan had asked whether the paternal line could be suppressed until strategic announcements were complete. "Did you know the babies were his?" Mara asked. "No," Lydia sobbed. "Everyone said she was lying." Everyone said. The words stayed with Tessa. Everyone said, and a laboring woman became a nuisance. Everyone said, and truth became a fantasy because it wore cheap shoes. The hospital board scheduled a closed hearing. Ezra thought Tessa should stay home, but he had learned not to command concern. "You're still healing," he said, while folding tiny onesies badly at her kitchen table. "Nia can represent you." "Do you think I can't speak?" "No." "Do you think I shouldn't?" "I think people will try to hurt you." They already did. Danger didn't begin in that conference room. It began when nobody believed me. He looked down at the crookedly folded onesie. "I don't want you to have to bleed again to prove there was a wound." The clumsy truth of it disarmed her. "I don't want to go, but I'm going." "Then I'll sit beside you if you want." "Not in front. Beside." The hearing took place in a plain conference room overlooking the parking deck. No chandeliers, no grand staircase, only plastic water pitchers and trustees who looked uncomfortable because morality had interrupted finance. Mrs. Harrow sat with swollen eyes and a prepared apology. Sloan wore black. Vivian sat apart, her authority suspended. Miles sent counsel, which was the most Miles kind of attendance possible. Tessa arrived with a borrowed navy dress, a binder, and a breast pump bag because power did not pause milk schedules. Ezra carried the diaper bag. When trustees looked at it, he looked back until they found their papers fascinating. Nia placed the timeline on a screen. Bellwether, accident, letters, legal notice, prenatal intake, classroom humiliation, early labor, birth, attempted chart alteration, DNA confirmation. Each date landed like a door closing. Mrs. Harrow began. "I regret that Ms. Brandt felt unsupported." Tessa raised a hand. "Stop!" The room turned to her. "I did not feel unsupported. I was unsupported. You did not make a mistake in tone. You let a room of adults laugh because one poor woman without a ring made your program uncomfortable. You watched me walk out in pain. I want that in the minutes." The secretary typed. Mrs. Harrow cried. Tessa discovered she did not enjoy it. She had imagined satisfaction, but there was only exhaustion and the wish that people would learn decency before tears became useful. Sloan spoke next. "This has become dangerously emotional. My initiative serves hundreds of mothers. We cannot let one misunderstanding destroy prenatal access." "Access for whom?" Tessa asked. "Mothers who don't embarrass donors? Mothers whose forms don't threaten your venture?" Mara presented the logs, the chart edit, Lydia's statement, emails calling Tessa the Whitlock claimant before the class, a message from Sloan asking whether the paternal field could be delayed until after strategic announcements, and a calendar invite between Sloan, Miles, and Vivian titled Reputation Containment. Vivian looked at Ezra. "I coordinated risk. You buried my children. I prevented an unverified claim from destroying stable institutions." Tessa said, "My children were not a storm. They were babies." The final document came from the hospital print server. At 2:17 a.m., the attempted bracelet reprint had not only removed Ezra's name, it had added a false discharge note. Mother declined paternal identification. The override traced to Sloan's administrative credentials. Sloan stood. "This is absurd. She would have disappeared with a check if you had offered enough." Tessa opened her binder and removed the check Vivian's courier had sent months earlier. $25,000. Memo line, relocation assistance. She had never cashed it. I was offered enough to survive, she said, sliding it across the table. I chose the truth instead. The hearing did not end with applause. Real consequences were quieter. Mrs. Harrow was removed from teaching. Sloan resigned before removal, then lost every hospital role when the documents became public. Vivian resigned from Whitlock Legal and faced review. Miles denied involvement until his emails surfaced, then retreated into the kind of settlement rich men called privacy. The Ingram venture collapsed. The hospital created a prenatal access council with paid seats for mothers, hourly employees, and nurses. Tessa refused the first seat. I'm not your redemption ornament. Then she thought of the next woman who would stand alone in room 214 with swollen ankles and no witness. She accepted on 3 conditions: childcare during meetings, transportation vouchers, and no class exercise that required a father in order to teach safety. Winter pressed the city into gray glass and early dark. The twins grew by ounces. Iris developed a stare that made adults confess things. Owen learned to grip Ezra's tie and refuse release. Ezra learned to arrive in sweaters because Tessa said suits made the apartment feel inspected. He learned to sing badly enough that Owen adored it, and Iris considered legal action. He learned to say, "I am scared," before fear became command. One December night, Tessa woke to silence and found him in the living room, sitting in the rocking chair with both twins against his chest. Snow moved thinly past the window. Ezra's head was bowed. "I was late," he whispered to them. "That is the first thing you should know about me. Not buildings, not money. I was late. Your mother was not. She carried you when no one believed her. She named you when people wanted blank spaces. If you ever wonder where courage came from, start there." Tessa stood barefoot in the hallway and let the words enter places anger had guarded for months. He looked up. They were restless. "I heard. I can put them down. In a minute." She sat on the ottoman across from him. The lamplight caught the scar through his eyebrow. "What happened on the bridge?" He looked at the babies. The driver received a message from the Bellwether Relief Office. Someone named Tessa Brandt had left urgent contact information. "I remember taking the phone. I remember seeing your name. Then headlights. A truck jackknifed. We hit the rail. I woke up 12 days later. I remembered the storm before I remembered my board. I remembered your hand before I remembered passwords. But everyone around me treated you like a symptom. And you let them." "Yes." She appreciated that he did not decorate the answer. "I was tired," he said. "My head hurt. Every person I trusted told me to leave uncertain memories alone. That is not an excuse. It is the room where my failure lived. Bellwether was real to me. It was real to me. Sometimes I hated that most. If you had lied the whole time, I could hate you cleanly. But you were kind. Then you vanished, and I had to decide whether the kind man or the silent man was real. Which did you decide?" "I'm still deciding." He nodded, accepting the sentence as a door left partly open. The first time Tessa returned to room 214, she went with the twins, and without Ezra. The hospital had repainted one wall soft green, as if color could apologize. New forms lay on the front table. Support person, not father. Contact, not husband. Access needs, not assumptions. A nurse named Paloma would teach the class. Tessa was there as council member and witness. Ezra arrived 20 minutes later, carrying a box of bottled water, because Paloma had asked him, not because he had placed himself in charge. He stopped at the door. "I can leave it outside," he said. "You can bring it in." He set the box down. "I don't have to attend." "I know. People will stare. They already do. I'm here because this is where I should have been when you needed help. I know standing here now can't repair that. But I can learn the lesson I missed." She narrowed her eyes. "Did Naya write that?" "No. Naya would have made it sharper." The first attendees arrived. A teenage father with bitten nails, a grandmother raising her daughter's newborn, 2 women from housekeeping, a married couple in expensive coats who looked nervous to discover the room no longer belonged to them more than anyone else. Paloma began with choking safety, not introductions. No one had to explain why they were alone. At the end, Tessa demonstrated a transfer with Owen because Iris objected to educational labor. Ezra stood across from her, hands ready. "Always make sure the receiving person is prepared," Tessa told the class. "Don't let go until you feel the baby's weight supported." Her eyes met Ezra's. "Say ready." "Ready," he said. She placed Owen into his arms. She did not release him until Ezra held the baby securely. Then she let go. The room watched a lesson deeper than infant safety without knowing its name. Spring came. Tessa used part of the settlement to open the Brandt room, a mother-baby supply pantry in a former storage space near the laundry. She insisted on calling it a room, not a foundation, because foundations sounded like marble and distance. A room had a door people could enter. It stocked diapers, formula, nursing pads, bus cards, second-hand carriers, phone chargers, and plain language legal guides. Laundry workers donated the first shelves. Nurses donated the first rocking chair. Ezra funded it only after Tessa approved the budget line by line and removed his name from the sign. "People know I gave the money," he said. "They can know. They don't need to be greeted by it." He accepted this with more grace than his accountants. The city moved on because cities always did. Sloane left public life. Mrs. Harrow wrote a letter Tessa did not answer for 3 months. Vivian lost her position. Miles settled and called consequences betrayal. None of them vanished. Life rarely gave villains the courtesy of disappearance. It gave them consequences, less satisfying and more useful. Ezra changed slowly. He still tried to solve anxiety by hiring people. He still went silent when afraid. But he learned to ask before help became control. Tessa changed too. She stopped expecting every kindness to arrive with a bill. Some nights she still touched the framed copies of the twins' first hospital tags on her dresser. Baby A. Whitlock, Baby B. Whitlock. Mother, Tessa Brandt. Father, Ezra Whitlock. She had framed them herself, not to worship his name, but to remember that the truth had once survived in black ink on white plastic when adults tried to delete it. One evening in May, Ezra found her on the floor surrounded by folded laundry. Iris lay on a blanket chewing her fist. Owen slept with one sock missing. Tessa had fallen asleep sitting upright with a tiny shirt in her lap. "You're staring," she muttered without opening both eyes. "Yes. Creepy. Fair." She rubbed her face. "Board meeting?" "Ended early," I walked. "From downtown? Men like you only walk before dramatic decisions." "I have one." She went still. He lowered himself to the floor, leaving space between them. "I'm not proposing." Her breath left so quickly Owen stirred. Ezra's mouth twitched. "Good to know that relieved you." "Marriage has been used as a weapon around me lately. Forgive my lack of swoon." "I don't want a swoon." He took a folded paper from his pocket and set it between them. "This is an amended co-parenting agreement. Nia drafted it." "I didn't ask for changes." "I did. The first version protects you from me using custody against you. This one protects your independence if we ever become romantically involved and then fail." She stared at him. "I don't want you wondering whether loving me could cost you housing, support, the Brandt room, or your legal footing with Iris and Owen he said. "I love you. I think you know that. I am not saying it to ask for anything tonight. I'm saying it after putting safeguards in writing because words have been used badly around you, including in my name." Iris sneezed, tiny and offended. Tessa pressed a hand over her mouth. A laugh and a sob collided behind it. "I loved you in Bellwether," she said. "I hated you in the lobby. I hated you when the letters came back. I hated you when you asked if they were yours. I still hate that version of you sometimes. I do too. But you kept showing up with clean hands and receipts and terrible lullabies. I can improve the lullabies. Don't. Owen would suffer." He smiled, but his eyes shone. "I don't know how to love someone powerful without disappearing," she said. "Then don't disappear. That's easy for you to say. No, it's necessary for me to learn." She looked at the paper, the laundry, the babies, the man who had been late and had spent months learning not to mistake remorse for repair. Then she reached across the floor and took his hand. It was not a kiss. It was not a public declaration. It was a hand held between onesies and burp cloths, with two babies breathing nearby, and a legal document making room for trust to arrive slowly. By summer, the new prenatal access program opened in the hospital courtyard, under shade canopies Tessa had insisted on, because speeches did not matter if pregnant women overheated. The sign on the classroom wing no longer bore the Ingram name. It read, "Family Safety Classes and Resource Access," with community advisors listed below. Tessa's name appeared among many. Ezra's did not appear at all, by his own request. He stood at the back beneath a maple tree, holding Owen while Iris slept in the stroller beside Tessa's chair. He had learned that standing at the back was sometimes the most radical thing power could do. Paloma spoke. A housekeeping supervisor spoke. A teenage father from the first new class spoke about learning CPR without being treated like a joke. Tessa had not planned to speak, but when she saw Mrs. Harrow standing near the far gate with both hands around a program, she rose. "Last year," Tessa said into the microphone, "I left a class in this hospital because people decided my life was too messy to belong in a lesson about babies. I had no ring, no partner beside me, and a father's name on a form that sounded impossible to them. A few minutes later, my children began arriving early." The courtyard quieted. I used to think the worst thing that happened that night was being laughed at. It wasn't. The worst thing was how normal it felt to everyone else. That is what we are changing. No one should need a husband to learn safety. No one should need money to be treated as truthful. No one should need a famous name on a bracelet before pain becomes real. Her voice trembled. She let it. My twins wore their father's name on their hospital tags. That revealed one truth. But the greater truth was this. Before anyone believed me, I was already their mother. Before a lab confirmed anything, they were already worthy. Before a powerful man stood beside me, I was already standing. Ezra's eyes filled. He did not hide it. Afterward, Mrs. Harrow approached near the water table. Ezra saw and stayed back when Tessa shook her head. "I won't ask you to make me feel better," Mrs. Harrow said. "Good. I am sorry. I know. I've replayed that night many times. I haven't had to. I lived it once." The older woman flinched, then nodded. "Yes." Tessa adjusted Iris on her hip. "There's a class next Tuesday for grandparents raising infants. Paloma needs volunteers to set up chairs. If you want to be useful, arrive at 5. Mrs. Harrow blinked. "You would allow that?" "I said set up chairs, not teach." A watery laugh escaped her. "I'll be there. Don't be late." That evening, after the canopies came down and the courtyard emptied, Tessa and Ezra returned to room 214. The lights were off except for the last amber wash of sunset through the blinds. The chairs now stood in a circle, not rows. The plastic dolls were locked away. Tessa pushed the stroller to the front of the room and stopped where Mrs. Harrow had once held the practice doll like a verdict. "Do you remember the transfer lesson?" she asked. "The one I missed?" "The one I walked out before learning." He looked at the twins. "You learned it later?" "Yes, but I think I want to finish it." She lifted Iris from the stroller. Ezra lifted Owen. They stood facing each other in the quiet classroom, 4 lives balanced in the place where shame had once tried to define her. "Ready?" Tessa asked. "Ready," Ezra said. She placed Iris against him slowly. He supported the baby's neck and back. Tessa kept her palm beneath Iris until she felt Ezra hold the full weight. Then she let go. He passed Owen to her with the same care. She received him, waited until the weight settled, and nodded. In the empty classroom, under ordinary lights, they practiced the lesson the world had denied her. No one letting go until the other was ready. No one laughing at the need for help. No child treated as proof of shame. Ezra reached into his pocket and took out a small white frame. Inside were copies of the twins' first tags, reduced and preserved. Baby A. Whitlock. Baby B. Whitlock. Mother: Tessa Brandt. Father: Ezra Whitlock. "I had this made for me," he said, "not to claim them, to remember the day truth found me when I was too late to find it first." Tessa touched the glass. "I hated those bracelets at first. They made people stare. They made me see. They made you ask a terrible question. They did." His voice roughened. "And then they gave me a lifetime to answer better." She looked at the man she had loved in a storm, hated through silence, tested through exhaustion, and begun to trust through bottles, hearings, receipts, and sleepless dawns. He was not the rescue she had needed. He was not the villain her pain had wanted. He was the father of her children, late to the truth, but no longer running from it. She stepped closer and kissed him. It was not public. It did not erase what she had endured alone. It was warm, trembling, and entirely theirs. Ezra held still for one stunned second, then kissed her back with a gentleness that asked rather than took. Between them, Iris grunted in disapproval. Owen slept through history. Tessa laughed against his mouth. "There she is," Ezra whispered. "Who?" "The woman in the yellow raincoat." Tessa shook her head. "No, she's gone." His face fell slightly, but she touched his cheek. "She became someone else," Tessa said. "Someone with 2 babies, a lawyer, a room full of diapers, and very high standards. I'm trying to meet them. I know." Outside, the hospital corridors carried wheels, monitors, footsteps, ordinary life. Inside room 214, the sunset thinned into evening. Tessa rested her forehead briefly against Ezra's shoulder while the twins breathed between them. There would be no perfect ending if perfect meant forgetting. There would be fevers, custody calendars, old fears, apologies, revisions, laughter over backward diapers, arguments over schools not yet needed, and 2 children growing into the story of how their names once startled a man into truth. But when they left the classroom together, no one stood at the door to send Tessa away. She walked out first, carrying Owen. Ezra followed with Iris and the folded stroller. At the threshold, Tessa paused and looked back. The room did not own her anymore. She turned off the light,